So, hello guys, today I have a different studio mate, my grandson, and he's making one of the stress monsters. He's having a great time. He absolutely loves coming into the studio and working with me, and he nagged me all morning, please Nana, can we go make another stress monster. Now he did tell me an amazing story which did make me blush. Apparently, he is doing a project at school about underwater fish. And his teacher decided to show on YouTube an artist painting. And Harley said, my Nan's a famous painter. She's got her own YouTube channel as well. And she's doing Inktober and she's doing fish. And so they got to watch me creating the turtle. He only told me last night. So he is chuffed to bits with Inktober. And I am so blown away by the amount of people in my community that have actually been watching Inktober. I ran a print shop this week for beginners doing polytiles and monoprints, and I was surprised by some of the people that have attended when they came into the studio, walked over to the picture. Now one of the people had seen the picture being drawn, and so they'd seen it in its raw state and had seen it being inked up, but hadn't actually seen it in the flesh, and they were blown away almost as much as I was by the response. I may not be getting the response that I would like on YouTube or even on Instagram, but in the real world, which is better really, I am getting a really good response, and so quite excited about this. Now, I was going to talk about something in this episode, and do you know what? It has completely slipped my mind. I have no idea. I think it was about using the narrative to help you do your drawing, which I've talked about before. In fact, that's my little grandson waving because he wanted to know if he could talk, if I actually had the sound on, and I said no, because we're in the studio. I usually do a talk over. So I do talk quite a lot about a narrative when I teach. And in my little art group that I do on a Wednesday, we were talking about imagination and can you build on imagination. And these children were really interesting because they were saying that imagination is a muscle and it only gets better if you use it. And some of them had not quite grasped the concept of imagination, but they said if you don't use it, you lose it, which was quite interesting. And it is amazing because when I give them a simple task, like 3 columns of words, and they've got to pick a word from each column and create an animal or an object, they just go ahead and create. But what's more fascinating is they stop every now and again and start to tell me about the narrative and the backstory from what they have created, which is something that I haven't asked him to do. This is something that they have done themselves, and it is really lovely to have a narrative. And I am asked quite often, even when you do your abstract work, is there a narrative that follows? And I say, yes, there is a narrative that follows my abstract work. I personally can't work anyway. And I think being in the moment, being in the now, and when you are doing your work, if you're not involved in the process and you're doing it just as a skill base, do think about the background story that goes behind it. And I do recommend as well to watch some of Jake Parker's videos. You know, he was talking about how while you become accomplished by doing the different tiny movements that we need to do, like composition and line pressure, and how many hours it does take to do these. Now, not everybody, as rule of thumb, needs to worry about these because it does come quite natural. And I do think sometimes it is soul destroying when, you know, you are asked to do pencil pressure, blah, blah, blah. I think that drawing comes from observation. I think you instinctively know, and if you do an overall, which I do when I teach my students, look at the shadowing, look at the shading, how does the pencil feel in detail, does your hand hurt, like we were doing fishes, and we were doing the scales, and their little hands were aching after a while because some of them want to get it right so perfect that they hold the pencil too tight. And you can begin to work on the grip, and that will give you pencil line definition, magic lines, center lines, guidelines. They are fine. When the line is more perfect, then make it a deeper line. Look at where shadows fall, where you place the object. I believe if you do it as a thematic learning, they're all together, it comes naturally. So when you do need to do a line drawing, believe it or not, it is already ingrained. Hours and hours of doing fine line, to me, personally, is soul destroying. The same as drawing bottles and still life. You won't find me do that. I would rather find something that you enjoy and simplify it. I think this is what puts a lot of people off drawing, is the fact that they have to practice. And they believe that it's bottles and jars and balls and squares. You don't need to. You can find all those objects in something you like. And by the end of it, you will have something that you like. And believe it or not, your brain would have dissected these course of events and the actions you've done and the muscle memory. So just pick up a pencil and draw. You don't have to do what all the experts say, but what you do need to do is to enjoy yourself and not worry, and you don't have to show anybody until you feel accomplished. And you don't have to listen to anybody else's criticism, especially your own. It's a really, really beautiful, fun thing to do. And if you start off with a pencil, a rubber, a cheap piece of paper, and a pencil sharpener, it will be the cheapest holiday you will ever have. So till tomorrow, please, thumbs up, like, love you to subscribe, comment, ring the bell. See you tomorrow. Much love.